A lot has been said over emergency alerts given the wildfires and flooding. With more of these type of storms hitting us, what is your thoughts on the emergency alert system in Nova Scotia, and do you see any improvements that are needed?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the report from the Portapic shootings about the delays in emergency alerts. We experienced them again during the wildfires and flooding events and with Hurricane Fiona. So obviously there are some gaps in communication with our emergency alerts, and they need to be fixed. They might be between the regional offices and the central office, but they need to be dealt with so that Nova Scotians can count on timely, quick alerts that are getting to them before it's too late. And of course, figuring out our cell coverage or how to communicate to people around areas that don't have cell coverage is really critical as well. So we have to see, I think, some logistical improvements there and some infrastructure improvements.
There is an issue with cell phone in rural areas, especially up here too in East Hants. So talk a little bit about what you're hearing about that.
Listen, I drive back and forth from Yarmouth every week. I drive through parts of the valley and the South Shore that have a complete gap in cell phone coverage. We know that impacted the tragedies from the flooding as well. People weren't able to get the weather alerts in time because of cell phone coverage. And traveling all around the province, be up in Guysborough today, being in Cape Breton, Cumberland County, there's major gaps in cell phone coverage. So not only is that annoying to everybody that has to deal with that, even when they're on the highways, but it creates major safety issues during extreme weather events. And we've got vulnerable people all across this province. We don't have a vulnerable persons registry. That's something else that we're pushing for. So when there's power outages and hurricanes and fires or whatever, we know where vulnerable people are who might have mobility issues or other challenges to support themselves. But people also can't call for help. They can't get the alert updates. They can't reach their friends and loved ones and stay connected with them. And the government has a cell phone gap study that I think they've been sitting on for over a year right now. And all we've seen them do is kind of point the finger at the federal government, as they're doing with everything nowadays, instead of taking some responsibility and working with the federal government and our cell phone providers to ensure that there's an increase in coverage for people, or looking at other options to get people emergency information who don't have good cell phone coverage. And we really haven't seen any action on this issue, and it really makes me worried that there's going to be some people that can find themselves in harm's way and can't get information they need or call for help when they need it. And it impacts our economy too, and particularly in rural Nova Scotia. People aren't going to move and have businesses in areas where they can't use their cell phones. I don't know many people that have landlines anymore. We're obviously in a very new age for telecommunication, and we've got to update our infrastructure to make sure we're keeping up with the times.